Hello, dear participants. Welcome to DCT, that is Diploma Course in Teaching of English. I am Amit Kumar and I work as an Assistant Professor of English at Geetam University, Hyderabad. And today we have with us Dr. Deepak Kumar. He works as an Assistant Professor of English at the National Institute of Technology in Bhopal. And in this session today, we are going to discuss CBL, which means competency based learning. And before I go into the details of this session, I would like to discuss the objectives of this session. So, the first one is to recognize the need, scope, nature, and strategies of CBL. Second, it also focuses how to understand the concept and underlying principles of CBL. It focuses on assessing learners' English language competence based on standardized criteria and design materials and activities in incorporating CBL in English classroom. It will also intend to see the application of techniques and strategies for implementing CBL in English classroom, and also identify the roles of teachers and learners in the implementation of CBL. So now let me give you a brief details on importance of competency based learning.
Dr. Amit, before you proceed with this uh, discussion, I have just two questions. Can you
Please.
just tell us why do we need competency-based learning? That is the first question.
Okay.
And what role does it play in students' language learning?
Thank you for these two important questions, Dr. Deepak. I would like to give a detailed explanation on why is it very important, what are the purposes CBL has in improving English of our students. Because in the fast growing world, workplace demands students who are skilled, competent enough to face the challenges in the real world scenario. They also need to be well trained to apply these skills in various professional contexts. So, a proper training functioning all the relevant skills prepare them well to meet the needs and standard of organization and ultimately achieve their future goals. Therefore, there is a strong need in incorporating any approach which is useful for them to develop competencies among the learners. In this regard, competency based approach, which is also called CBL, it helps students to learn the most effective approach. And the purpose of CBL in English language teaching and learning are three dimensions. First, for students, it helps students uh, in focusing on one subjects of their choice in which they wish to excel, and rather than studying multiple disciplines. It also allows them to take ample time to concentrate on their subjects of their choice and develop desired skills in that area to ultimately gain expertise and experience in a particular field. And it's not only helpful for the students, it is also helpful for the teachers and curriculum designers, so that this approach provides scope for them to bring diversity to the courses offered to the students under the prescribed curriculum. These courses are directly aligned with the needs of the industries in the 21st century and help them in preparing uh, them to meet the industry requirements. And apart from students, teachers, and curriculum designers, it also directly helps the industry, because this approach of learning helps industry to identify and select students who are equipped with the skill sets necessary to bring productivity at the workplace. It also helps in promoting collaboration among the students, institutes, and industries with guarantee of bringing the skilled workflow force and assure the employability rate. So these are some of the different advantages from three different main dimensions. And now, apart from the purposes and the skills, there are several advantages of CBL, where Some of the advantages are like learners acquisition and learning vary individual to individual. So CBL provides personalized learning experience for students. It also provides flexible and self-paced learning that is helpful for language users to learn as per their own convenience. It promotes practical way of learning through which learners tend to use language in real world contexts. It provides students help in developing critical thinking and creative skills because they learn in the real world context where they can apply their thinking while working in collaborative field or while working in any industry. It helps students in developing the best employability skills and opportunities for them to excel in industries.
Dr. Amit, this approach seems to be beneficial for the students to be successful in their career. But what exactly does competency mean? Can you just elaborate that?
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Actually, many people may have those skills, but they do not know what competency means.
Okay.
They use their skills competencies in their daily life, but they may not be aware of it formally or structurally. So this question will help them in understanding what competency is. So let me
Okay.
just define
So you can
what.
say that I have competency, but I
Yes,
don't
you.
know what exactly it means. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, it may be true for
Yes.
the students as well. So, competency can be defined as the application of skills, knowledge, attitude, and behavior to perform various functions in a standard workplace setting. It can be referred as an ability of a person to apply and practice the knowledge that is required or acquired over time and experience. It shows the capacity of an individual to successfully deal with the critical functions or tasks required to be successful in a defined workplace environment. Generally, in any professional setup, employees are expected to exhibit communication skills, subject knowledge, technical skills, logical reasoning skills, problem solving skills, and emotional intelligence, for example, to some extent, critical thinking skills, and so on.
Okay.
And this is what competency means, but we are trying to explain, we are trying to use those competency in more structured form. That's what we this CBL, competency based learning, is brought into curriculum.
Okay.
So CBL is an approach which is used as a teaching approach, which is emerged in the United States in 1970s by Richards and Rogers. Fine. And they described this approach as uh, defining educational goals in terms of precise measurable descriptions of knowledge, skills, and behaviors of students, and where students should possess all these skills at the end of the course of the study. According to Glossary of Education, competency based learning refers to the system of instructions, assessment, grading, and academic reporting that are based on students' demonstration, and they have learned the knowledge and skills which are expected to learn as they progress through their classroom or through their education. Whereas the concept of project based learning is defined as an approach to teaching and learning that is designed to encourage and engage students in investigating the authentic problems of real life, where the theory and practice of promoting individual and collective learning uh, through projects.
Okay. Actually, this sounds very interesting and useful, but is there any theory behind it? Like, what is the theory behind this approach?
Yes. As we have already discussed, what is competency and the skills involved in it, pe- it's not necessary for the students to know the theory behind it, but for the teachers, it is very important
Yeah.
to understand the theory so that they can implement it well in their classroom and during the semesters or during the classroom practices. So the theories which help in competency based learning uh, is where leaders in the field developed a working definitions of CBL, which is based on five principles. First, students advance upon achieving mastery of those skills. Second, competencies can include implicit, measurable, transferable learning objectives that empower students. And then the third one is assessment, which is meaningful and positive, which creates positive learning experience for students. It also helps students in receiving timely, differentiated support based on their individual learning needs and requirements. And learning outcomes emphasizes upon competencies that include application and creation of knowledge along with the development of important skills and dispositions. So these were some of the very important you know advantages
Okay.
and principles behind
Okay.
this application of CBL.
So I have understood this concept and its role and purpose. These things I've understood. But I think the most important thing for a teacher to know is that how to implement such approach in the classroom, in a real kind of classroom. So can you talk about the implementation part?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is very important for a teacher to understand
Yes.
how CBL can be implemented in their in real life classroom practices. Otherwise it cannot be structurally properly
Yeah, the most
practiced.
practical aspect is the implementation part. Yeah.
Implementation, yes. So the chief aim of this approach is to develop competency among students in order to cater to the needs of the industry finally when they come out of their
Okay.
academics. So therefore, the curriculum framework is designed under this approach, which starts with determining each student's proficiency level at the entry level. The assessment of students' current proficiency, entry level proficiency, language proficiency is assessed through standardized tests. And then in this process, in the second stage, students are then divided into several groups on the basis of their test performances. And in this regard, Richards and Rogers proposed that the needs assessment that must be conducted uh, specifically for their learning pace, just to understand students' learning pace, their needs, and their specific goals of learning a language, especially English language. Then in the next stage, a syllabus is designed uh, satisfying the needs of the students. The course curriculum is divided into three different levels with the linear development. They are expected to reach to the next level or second level or third level, which you can say just after only after completing the first level. And progressively they can finish the course by accomplishing the goals set at each level. Then in the next stage, students are properly taught and trained by the course instructors and mentors and experts of the industries. And in this process, the course instructors follow experiments and experience methods and techniques that are oriented towards gaining competency required by industries and students. Simultaneously, some of the formative and summative assessments are also conducted very strategically just to determine the progress of the students, and they are provided with necessary inputs and feedback which are required by them to improve the quality of the skills or competencies, you can say. And finally, students are evaluated and assessed to assure students attainment of competencies aimed in the beginning. Their end product results cannot be improved only until they reach to the target level of competency. So whatever is targeted in the beginning, until they reach to the level of competency of that level, which bridges the gap or which supplies the demands of the industry, only then they can be understood that the course is completed for them.
Hmm. I have a question, but before I ask that, I also want to know. You used these two terms, formative and summative.
Yes.
So, what do you understand by these two terms? Can you just explain that?
Sure.
Like these terms keep coming, we teachers sometimes get
Yes.
confused.
Yes.
So what do you mean here in this context, like formative and summative?
Yes, it's very interesting question. Many teachers practice assessment and evaluation in their classrooms, but there may not be much awareness
Okay.
about how to use them, how to implement these kind of assessments in the classroom. Actually, these kind of assessments are used to assess students' abilities, skills, and competencies in CBL approach. I'm
Okay.
saying, where the construction of assessments, okay, uh, can be used through multiple techniques. As you said, formative assessment, it is considered at frequent intervals, or
Okay.
it is actually it. Formative assessments are tests which are generally conducted
Yes, yes.
or organized at regular intervals to identify the growth of the learners and skills and knowledge which they use throughout in their in their academic career. And these kind of tests can be conducted using multiple tools, and teachers generally conduct these kind of formative assessment through short term assignments, individual or group projects on a particular topic, classroom task and activities, self and peer reflective journals, practices, practice tests, giving peer feedback or feedback conferences,
Yes.
and other specified tests or quiz can be conducted to assess students' development throughout the
Yeah, Dr.
course.
Amit, like, let me tell you what I understand by these two
Yes,
terms, formative and summative,
please.
and then tell me if I'm wrong. So I'm a good cook. I enjoy cooking, and
Yes.
then and you can know it by looking at my body. So when I cook, what I do is like in between I taste.
Yes.
I just want to know whether salt is okay, or do I need to add some more chili, to the curry. And the objective of testing in between is to know whether the product will be okay or not, finally what is going to be there, you know so can I say that when I test that
Yes.
regular at
Yes.
regular, that is
That
formative,
is formative.
and if I
Summative.
invite you
Hmm.
when the curry is ready and tell you that how does it look, or how is that, you can say that it looks fine, that is summative. Is that okay? Can we relate these two things there?
It is really very interesting
Yeah.
for our viewers
Hmm.
to understand these two very difficult concepts.
Yes,
I,
yes.
I would not say difficult, it's a complex
No,
concept to
when sometimes I
understand.
think that why do I do that? So
Yes.
I get the answer that I do it because I want to check whether salt is okay, or do I need to add some more chili. So in teaching also, I when I conduct tests, these formative, at regular intervals, I just want to know whether my teaching is okay,
Yes.
whether the students are learning or not.
Yes.
Is there any problem with the teaching material I'm using, or is
Yes.
there problem with the teaching method I'm using?
Yes.
So formative assessments, help a teacher also to know things are going well.
Very
But
nice.
here I want to know that how can we assess students' language performance using the approach you are talking about,
Yes.
this CBL, competency based learning approach.
Absolutely.
So please,
Sure, sure,
elaborate that.
definitely. First of all, let me thank you for this very interesting
Yeah.
example. Okay, I think this will be, memorable for the learners to understand this very complex concepts, formative and summative assessments. So, as you have already pointed out, that we check
Yeah, I have read
the food
somewhere
items.
that a cook can be, we can say, formative, and the host, let's say, formative, and the guest who comes and eats, that is summative kind of thing.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I'm right or wrong, you can tell me, but I just wanted to share what I have read somewhere and what I
Definitely.
understand by these two terms.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it was really very interesting,
Yeah.
Dr. Deepak, and which you have simplified this
Yes,
concept
yes.
in very interesting way, and you have just contextualized it with the real life, which
Yeah.
what we do in our real life day to day.
Yeah, but please tell me, how can we assess stress language performance using the approach you are talking about?
Sure,
I just
sure.
want to know
So
that
in the
part. Yeah.
formative assessment, as I said, in the formative assessment, as you said, you can check the test.
Yeah.
We can also check the student's proficiency of English.
Okay.
Okay, through multiple tools, like you said, salt or something.
Yes,
So
yes.
we also use several tools like short-term assignment,
Okay.
individual and group project on a particular topic we can give, and we can also conduct some classroom activities and tasks, okay, and ask them to complete it, and also add their self and peer reflective approach, okay, to understand whether they have developed, whether they have confidence in improving their language. It can also be done through standardized test in between, like MCQs or quiz or something like that, and also some techniques like peer feedback, teacher feedback, feedback conference, these kind of concepts, or these kind of structure, or these kind of environment, learning environment, can help them to understand their improvement, to learn about their language performance. And when you talk about summative assessment, it is used to analyze the end term or final evaluation. As you said, the guest checks the taste or the food. So in this final evaluation of competencies among learners after the completion of the course curriculum, it is conducted after certain period of time when a specified portion or syllabus is completed. So that is summative assessment. Yes. Students are expected to demonstrate their competence defined in the beginning of the learning process through some of the strategies, such like paper-based evaluation, skill-based test, interviews, group discussion, debate, web-based test, role plays, experiment-based inquiry like projects, report, and all those. So these tools can be used to evaluate students, okay, at summative level. And apart from these two, formative and summative, in CBL, we also use some locally developed assessment pattern, where some of the locally developed assessment are used to assess the competency, assess the competency among students as a satisfaction to the standardized test. Hmm. Local test is created and conducted to assess the local needs, okay, or basic or specified needs of the students, if they are choosing any specific career, or whichever skills are or competency is required in a particular field. So we can assess, we can prepare, or we can design or construct a test accordingly. So they are called locally designed or locally developed assessment. They may not, sometimes, a standardized test, they may not be able to cater to the needs of the learners of a particular industry or field. So this is the third one, which can be very helpful. So these are some of the things, and where these assessments can be done through certain rubrics. Okay. So there are some criteria which can be prepared by the teacher, or there are some standardized criteria which are already available. Successful competency based learning explicitly includes assessment that are authentic, valid, and reliable in nature. The assessment and this mechanism of assessment can be made more instrumental and accurate by defining the parameters for each skill and aspect affecting an assessment. So, designed and constructed form of assessment, the, based on these, the parameters allow both teachers and students to know the defined goals for each stage along with the learner continuum. These parameters with the specific goals are defined as rubrics. Okay. So on these criteria, on these rubrics, teachers can assess students' performance at different level for different skills. Apart from listening, speaking, reading, writing, these basic language skills, their grammatical aspects and vocabulary component also can be assessed, along with life skills, which are highly required in any industry. So these assessments can be done using some specific tools. So I will give you some of the example of some tools which are used, like job analysis and questionnaire, diagnostic test to understand the proficiency of the learner, uh, direct observation checklist just to see their development, questionnaire or survey to get their opinion and their proficiency level. Psychometric test questionnaire, which can assess their ability of thinking, critical thinking, problem solving, and decision making skills. Some situation based questions are given there. And then finally, we use achievement test and fine, and then end with some training feedback questionnaire, which can be taken, which can be collected by the students or by the teachers to understand whether they have reached to the certain level of competencies. So I think these were some of the very important aspects. And to sum up, I can only say that CBL can be an effective approach to prepare students to deliver efficiently at workplace. It assures the proper training to demonstrate several skills in the professional context, since they develop these competencies through experience and experiment based learning. So with these, I would like to conclude and thank you very much for your very interesting inputs and insights, which will enrich our participants to understand about assessments and how to develop competencies in for a particular industry needs.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you for
Thank you so
explaining these
much.
concepts, so well, and I think this will be useful and helpful for the teachers and students as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you.